Sarah and I had been married for 8 years. Last month was our anniversary, and I thought we would go somewhere to celebrate. We were at one of those trendy restaurants, and instead of giving me a new cologne, a watch, or even a card, she handed me an envelope. Inside were divorce papers. She watched me read them, seemingly imagining how devastated I must be. I can't forget that moment. She was calm and collected, while I let my whole world crumble before my eyes. The waiter came over and asked if we wanted dessert. I was too stunned to speak. Sarah ordered tiramisu, and there wasn't a crumb left on her plate, while I sat there staring at her, wondering if I had ordered the wrong thing. To explain how things got so bad, I have to go back 6 months. I had landed a job at the best company that had been bought by a large corporation. Management, including me, was given a choice: either take a 20% pay cut and less work, or resign with severance pay. Obviously, they wanted to get rid of most of the employees. I had worked at this company for 12 years, starting at the bottom. I loved my job, my team, everything. A 20% pay cut is a lot, of course, but it's not insurmountable. Sarah was a dental hygienist and earned good money. We didn't have any children, so I decided we could somehow get by on less money. I expected Sarah to support me when I told her, but she immediately pointed out how this would ruin our 5-year plan, wipe out our savings, and why on earth we would rent an apartment when everyone would know we had been laid off. "You have to think about our future," she said. "It's not just about you." I was disappointed. I had thought about our future. It seemed smarter to stay at a job I liked than to start over. The conversation got heated. I was very selfish and thoughtless. I told her she was shallow and materialistic. We both said things we regretted. I believed it was just a normal marital spat. She went to her sister's for 2 days. When she came back, she was cold and distant. I believed she just needed time. I took the pay cut and told myself that once Sarah realized we were secure, she would change her mind. But instead, she became resentful. She started comparing me to other men, and then said, "So-and-so's husband got a raise and a pay raise." She scattered articles about career advancement all over the house. She made a big deal out of paying for dinner and said, "Now I'm a sugar mommy," in front of other people. It was humiliating. I started to wonder if she ever loved me, or if I was just a paycheck she wiped her ass with, you know? After 3 months, I started thinking about starting my own consulting company. I had some experience and connections from my previous job. I shared the idea with Sarah, but she dismissed it as reckless and dangerous. "If we take that risk, I'll get fired." So I didn't share my idea at that point, but I continued my research and conversations with former clients. The response was great. Many people didn't like how things had turned out after the takeover and wanted to hire me. For over 2 months, I spent my evenings and weekends at my computer, secretly developing a business plan. I signed 3 good contracts and handed in my resignation. I was so excited to get home and tell them. Sarah exploded. She let out everything that had been building up. I hadn't asked her opinion. I was risking our future. She didn't know how to trust me. I tried to tell her about all the research and plans, but she wouldn't listen. She yelled that I was selfish and reckless. We argued for hours, shouting terrible things at each other. I showed her the door, and she screamed and yelled, she said. And the judges heard it all. I mean, they heard it. That she should never have married me, and that she deserved better. I said, "Maybe you should find someone else." She grabbed her keys and ran out, but she came back the next morning. After that, we became strangers. We hardly spoke, except to discuss expenses or plans. The atmosphere in the house was tense. I spent more time in coffee shops to get away from the pressure. But business took off. In the first month, I earned as much as I had before my pay cut. By the second month, I was earning more than before. Sarah didn't seem to notice. She came home late, left without inviting me, and became increasingly distant. I knew something was going on, but I wanted to at least be fair. Our anniversary came around. Sarah suggested going back to the fancy restaurant where we had been on our first anniversary. I was full of hope. She wore a beautiful dress and smiled for the first time in months. We ordered wine and appetizers. I believed that maybe she had heard that I was at work and wanted to spend some time with me. After the main course, she took an envelope out of her bag and placed it on the table. She explained that it was a gift for our anniversary. I thought it might be tickets or a sweet note, but they were divorce papers. I looked at her in shock. She smiled and calmly ate her salmon while I stared at the papers. I asked her what this meant. She added that she thought it was more vanilla than fighting. She had already spoken to a lawyer, and the property settlement was fair. I asked her how long she had been planning this. She said she started believing in divorce after I was laid off, but the fact that I quit without talking to her was the last straw. But now we're in a stronger financial position, and trust us, she added with a smile. "Why did you do this on our anniversary?" I shouted. For her, there was something poetic about it. Since our marriage began at the immigration office, it should end there too. I left the house and threw the money on the table. I sat in my car for over an hour, trying to comprehend what had just happened. When I returned home, Sarah was also getting ready to leave. She said she was going to her sister's to prepare for when her lawyer finished some business. She was calm, as if she had rehearsed it. But it got even worse. Then, a week later, I got a huge client that tripled my income. "I'm an idiot," I told Sarah on the phone. She asked to meet for coffee. At the cafe, she said she might have been too quick to divorce and wanted to work things out. She said she missed me and wanted to save our marriage. I wanted to believe her, but it didn't seem like the right time. I asked her when it had happened. She swore it wasn't about the money, but I didn't believe her. She confessed that she had slept with another man, a co-worker named Derek. She said it started out as emotional support, but then turned into something more. She said they hadn't had sex yet, but I don't think that matters. She said she was confused and missed our life together. I was devastated. She cheated on me during our marriage. She begged me to give her a second chance. We talked for hours. I told her I needed time. That was 3 weeks ago. Since then, she's been texting and calling me. She wants to go to therapy. She says she made a mistake and that she still loves me. But it's hard not to wonder how much of this was planned. I wonder if it was real love she felt for me or the life she would lose. And when she believed I was leaving, she jumped ship. Now that I'm at the top, she wants to come back. My friends are divided. Some say marriage is hard and we should try therapy. 5 friends say no. Why trust her again? My sister believes she's a gold digger. My mom believes in second chances. I don't know what to do. I decided to dig deeper. I looked through credit card statements and phone bills. I found restaurant receipts and movie tickets from the last 6 months. Places I'd never been with her. I even found a hotel bill from 4 months ago. Phone records show that she was still texting Derek 7 months ago, right after I took the demotion, long before she said they got close. They texted each other hundreds of messages a day and talked on the phone for hours. I also found emails on the family computer at the house where we all lived. She had already been talking to a divorce lawyer 5 months ago, before I even started to believe I could start my own business. She asks about his assets and alimony. In one email, she asks whether we should file for divorce before or after our anniversary. Her lawyer said the timing didn't matter legally, but she wanted it to be emotional. That dinner was planned to hurt me, and you know what the worst part is? I stumbled across several listings for apartments she had been looking at with Derek. She was planning to live with him. I'll never be able to go back and find out for sure if she ever truly loved me, or if I was just a lifestyle choice that she always knew she could improve upon somehow. And I don't know if I'll ever be able to take her back. By the time Sarah handed me the papers, Derek had already put down a deposit on the apartment, and I realized she was still living with one of her sisters. I turned the corner of the house listed on the lease, and lo and behold, Sarah's car was parked right outside the front door. Derek opened the door when I knocked. He looked guilty and scared. He tried to slam the door in my face, but I pushed it open. Sarah was sitting on the couch in her bathrobe as if she had just gotten out of bed, even though it was already 3 in the afternoon. The conversation that followed was the most horrible I had ever had. Some of the words I said made me hang my head in shame. I was screaming with rage and pain. I yelled that they had both been lying to me for months, that they had done this to destroy me and my marriage while acting like they didn't care. Sarah denied everything and swore that she had moved in with Derek after our divorce and that it was just a temporary rental until she decided what to do. But I had rental agreements signed by Derek, emails with his lawyer, and recordings of phone conversations. She can't say any of that without admitting that she was preparing to leave me long before she pretended to have doubts. Derek kept telling me to just walk away and that it was between me and Sarah. But I reminded him in colorful language that he had been writing to my wife constantly while we were married and living in the same house. He was very involved in it, and in hiding the truth. It got to the point of shouting and name-calling. Sarah started crying and said she never wanted it to end this way, that she still loved me and, despite her fear and confusion, wanted to make things right. I told her it was nonsense. You don't accidentally call divorce lawyers, spend months gathering proposals, and then move in with another man if you still love your husband. Derek finally said he was calling the police. I told him to do whatever he wanted. I wanted the truth to come out, that he had been having an affair with a married woman and helping her get a divorce so they could be together. But Sarah wanted to talk and not make things worse, just without Derek. I ran out of the house, got in my car, and sat there for an hour, shaking with anger and disbelief. I had been played by the man I loved and trusted with my entire future. I started to remember all the times she had called me paranoid for believing that something was wrong between us. That evening, Sarah called me in hysterics, begging to meet. I was ready to brush her off, but curiosity got the better of me. I wanted to hear what she had to say now that I knew the truth. She apologized as soon as we met. She said she was confused and didn't know how to deal with her feelings about our marriage and her attraction to Derek, and that she had made one bad decision after another. She said she had started looking for an apartment and a lawyer to figure out her options, but not because she knew for sure she wanted to leave me. And the only thing she ever talks about is that I quit my job and didn't even tell her. And she responded, "You know what? We just want different things." Now that she's seen my business thrive, she told me she regrets her decision. What a surprise. And realizes she was very, very wrong to think I couldn't provide for us. I questioned her about the hotel, the apartment with Derek, the lies. She cried and said that yes, they had been seeing each other for several months. And yes, they had been intimate. But she said that it didn't matter anymore considering what we had. Derek was a comfort to her, a band-aid for the wounds caused by loneliness and disappointment. But now she was ready to work on our marriage. The whole conversation made me sick. Every word seemed manipulative. Now that I knew how long it had been going on and how carefully she had planned her betrayal, I read between the lines. I told her that I couldn't believe a word she said now. Even if she was sorry, it was too late, until it was too late. Until she found out that my business was thriving and that marriage would be more profitable for her than an affair with Derek. She told me that it was all about money and that she loved me very much. Well, in terms of change, except that she only really changed after I signed a big contract and started making more money than ever. It's not a coincidence. It's a strategy. We argued for over an hour. She said she would leave Derek, go to therapy, do anything to save us. But I replied, "I'm not a backup plan for some guy." She wouldn't have asked me for another chance if she hadn't ruined her relationship with Derek. That was yesterday. I've been thinking about it all day, and now I'm absolutely certain that Sarah only came back because I'm financially successful again. If I lost my business tomorrow, she'd probably go right back to Derek or any other man in her life who could provide her with comfort and security. I'm such an idiot for believing her stories about fear and remorse. In reality, She already found another guy and only came back because she decided she would have a better financial future with me. I want to thank whoever pushed me to dig deeper. You saved me from believing Sarah's well-crafted lies and showed me the truth. Tomorrow, I have a meeting with a lawyer to protect my business and make sure my ex-wife gets nothing from her betrayal. I will no longer fight for a marriage with someone who clearly does not value or respect me. So, back to my original question. No, I don't believe it would be wrong not to take her back. I am finally 100% convinced that divorce is the best thing that could happen. I want someone who loves me for who I am, not for who he can make me be. I think this will be my last update unless something serious happens, but I want to tell you what happened after I found out the real reason Sarah was trying to provoke me. Yesterday, I spent the entire day talking to a divorce attorney and told her everything about Sarah's affair and how it was all deliberate. The attorney said I have a strong case because I have evidence of infidelity and malicious intent, which will help me in the division of assets and determining spousal support. Since I built most of my business after Sarah left and filed for divorce, she can't claim that she somehow made my business what it is today. My lawyer showed me how to protect that income and those investments. I felt strong and liberated. I had finally done the right thing. But then, out of nowhere, Sarah showed up at my doorstep, hysterical. She begged me not to take a step and said she had made the biggest mistake of her life and was willing to do anything to save our marriage. Derek had dumped her the same night I caught them together, she said. He didn't want any drama and didn't want to break up the family. He told her to try to work things out with me since it was obvious she was struggling. Now there was nothing left of Sarah but despair. She cried that I was the only person who had ever loved her, that she couldn't believe she had thrown away our marriage for a man who ran away when things got tough. She knew that therapy, reconciliation, and 100% honesty were all she had left. But something wasn't right. She said how proud she was of my success in business, how she always knew I could make it, how our life together would be heaven on earth if only we didn't let it go. She mentioned our house, our travels, our life, the material luxuries, not the human bonds. That was the last straw. Even from her so-called apologies, I could tell she saw me as a source of income. Then she told me that her sister had told her that kind, successful men like me were hard to find, and that she shouldn't let me get away. That said it all. Yet her plea wasn't about love. Her plea was about her future. I told her in a calm voice that I was getting a divorce and that nothing she said would change my mind. I couldn't rely on her anymore, and I wasn't strong enough to be the person she could lean on. She lost her temper, accused me of being vindictive, and said I would regret breaking up our marriage because of my pride. I was very calm and told her that she had made that decision months ago when she left me for Derek without telling anyone. Before she left, she threatened to fight for half of everything, including my business. But thanks to my lawyer, we documented everything to keep what belongs to me. This morning, she sent me a text message with a much nicer message, apologizing and saying that if we can't work things out, she will always love me, etc. It was sad, but it was a good lesson. I sincerely believed that she believed she loved me, but her actions speak otherwise. Tomorrow, I will finally sign the divorce papers. And for the first time in months, for the first time in a very long time, I feel hope. I am continuing to live my life, a life without someone who always saw me as just a backup option. I have finally chosen myself.